Welcome back. This afternoon, you're listening to the Todd Laborowitz Show, Real Estate Radio and Sound Broadcast Network, WRC 1260 AM. I am your host, Todd Laborowitz, and we are speaking with Bill Meili, attorney at law. Bill has spent 26 years in uniform as an active duty and reserve Army judge advocate. He retired as a Colonel 06 and uses his experience and knowledge of how the system works in his law practice. His practice focuses on saving professional careers, protecting military retirements, and reclaiming the reputations and honor of those who have served this country. Hello, Bill.
Hello, Todd.
Thanks so much for being here. I was going over your resume, and it's like pages and pages long. I'm going to have to put all this on the website. I don't have enough time to go through it.
I'm sorry. I hope I cut it down short enough for you in that second thing I said.
I mean, you must be 120 years old.
Not quite. Just been breathing a while.
It's unbelievable. I mean, we got the military, I mean, I don't even know where to start. Let's get into the fun stuff. With the military, is there anything that's unique about you and like what you do versus what the other attorneys do that we could explain who you are to our listeners?
Well, Todd, I'm a friend of Jim Musgrave's, and I guess I ought to lead in and just tell you that Jim's wife, Laura, was a prosecutor down here in Texas for many years, and a real good one. I had some time as a district attorney, as a prosecutor in that same office, and then I worked some cases with her as a defense attorney. So when she went to the East Coast and married Jim, that's how I met him. And we were talking the other day about the possibility of coming on the show, and I thought that one of the things I do in my practice is I help people who have problems with their security clearances.
And do you see a lot of problems with that? Because I know in Washington, D.C., there's a lot of security clearances around here.
Well, I do it as part of my practice, and I've been working security clearance defense type things for about 25 years. So over that time, yeah, I've seen quite a few different types of cases. But we were trying to figure out what the tie-in is, or could there be a tie-in with your listeners? And I think there is, because one of the problems is whenever anybody has a difficulty with their clearance, if they get a letter of intent to revoke or a statement of reasons why there's some concerns, causes a great deal of concern, and the possibility of losing that license, losing the clearance, means they won't have a job. Many times there's a problem with the concern is about financial matters, and a lot of these things, financial matters in particular, happened years ago. They're trying to clean it up, and one of the ways they clean it up is by going to guys like Jim Musgrave and going to people like you in the financial world to try to get straight. So I thought, we could talk a little bit about that. There is, there's a carryover.
Like, what are some situations that you're seeing out there that could cause someone to get that letter in the mail and need to reach out to our resources here at the show?
Well, sure. I mean, there are about a dozen different guidelines that the security clearance adjudicators look to when they're analyzing a problem, and one of those guidelines has to do with financial problems. So, for instance, if you get overextended, if you have a lot of debt, a lot of credit card debt or other debt, and that's a problem. I mean, that can cause a problem with somebody who has a clearance being looked at for the possible revocation of that clearance, or it can cause a problem if somebody is coming into the system and wanting to get a clearance right off. So if they call, right, I'll get a call on that, and there's a financial difficulty. There's a broad rule of a concern, and then there are any number of different what they call mitigating factors. And one of the mitigating factors is it was long ago. Another mitigating factor is it's being cleaned up or taken care of. And the third mitigating factor that's great and that ties in with what you all do is you've received counseling. You've gone to somebody that's setting you on the right path. And not only is that good because, for all sorts of reasons, but it's also you have a professional who can then come in and speak to the response as an expert on why this problem is taken care of or going to be taken care of and why it won't crop up in the future, and therefore why this person is not a security risk anymore.
Okay, and just to clarify, someone with security clearance that has a financial difficult situation and they might be up for losing their security clearance, it's not that people are just trying to be rude and tough. Is it because they're more they're easier to take bribes if they were in a bad financial situation where they need to have a balance situation to not tip to the other side? Is that the reason?
Right on target. I mean, there's especially in the financial area, if there's a financial concern, the problem for the government is this person going to be co-opted? Can they be bought? In other words, hey, you've got financial difficulties, we can help you with, the enemy, we can help you with that. We're going to fix that for you by giving you some dough, and in exchange, could we just take a look at those secrets that you have access to? So that's the primary concern with finances. The other thing, I guess, that goes along with that is there's a concern that somebody who's in debt and wants to get out of it is going to do something illegal or dishonest. Not necessarily tied in with secrets, but dishonest behavior in order to get healthy.
It's a bad position to be in. Well, by the way, if you're just tuning in, I have on the phone with me Bill Meili, attorney at law, and I am your host, Todd Laborowit, and you're listening to Salem Broadcast Network, WRC 1260 AM. Now, getting back to what we were talking about, Bill, is financial situations. We've talked about it before on this show, where we can approve somebody to qualify for a house. And in today's world, we have childcare, we have all these other expenses that to maintain a certain lifestyle, what you qualify for is not necessarily what you can really afford. And it's putting a lot of people in a bad position. So unless they talk to a financial advisor or their CPA, they can not on purpose get into this mess, but it's easy to get into this mess. I see it all over.
Correct. And that's a lot of what we do in my side of things when I'm working to, defend a security clearance problem. Everybody gets in a bind somewhere along the line. I mean, most of us do, right? And sort of the secret to success in this business, as I suppose in yours as well, is let's look at what the real story is. What were the triggers? What was the motivating factor or motivating factors in why this person is in a bit of a bind? And what are they doing about it now? Or what can be done about it now? And, we can help move that process along. But one of the mitigating factors that they look at, not only in financial considerations, but in just about all of the concerns was this problem brought on by factors that were more or less out of the individual's control? Divorce, death, illness in the family.
Any life change.
Reversals because of, losing of a job. A lot of people go through that. Does that mean that they're an unacceptable risk to handle classified information? No. Does that mean that they're going to cause a red flag to be raised by the folks that are the government going through and checking backgrounds, when they're thinking about issuing security clearances? Yes. It has to be explained. It's got to be brought up. You got to talk about it. And there's a good way to talk about it, an effective way to talk about it, and there's a not so good way to talk about it. So we help with that. We help tell the story.
Well, what I'd like to do is offer something to our listeners to get in touch with you, because this is the first I'm learning about all this.
Well, sure. I mean, the easiest way nowadays, and one of the things that you and I talked about before I came on the segment is security clearance work, military law work generally is federal law based. And so an attorney such as myself who's based and has a brick and mortar office in Dallas, Texas, I can work all over the country with people who are all over the country who have this kind of problem. So the easiest way to get in touch with me is by the website. I like the phone, so I'll give you the website.
Well, actually, for our listeners, what I can do for you is I have them text me, and then I can forward them to the website and take care of it for you from there. Because So for our listeners, if you want to get in touch with Bill Meili about your security clearance or getting that letter, what you can do is call or text me, Bill Meili, Meili, to 301-467-8444, 301-467-8444. And also what I'm going to do is have him on our website, and I'm going to put his resume on there because it's long and it's honorable. It's
Okay. All right, I'll shorten it next time.
Well, no, you earned every bit of it. I mean, check it. Anybody that's listening, go to the website, check it out. You'll know what I'm talking about. So what makes you different than your competition?
Yeah, I like that question. First of all, I've been breathing air a long time, maybe longer than some of the competition. I've been practicing law for over 30 years now. And the other 2 points are, especially in this area, military administrative law, security clearance law, it's based on following regulations. And I'm just a regulation junkie. I don't know why. Some people have certain things that's kind of geeky, I know, but I've always enjoyed working with the regulations, and that's...
Got it, Bill. Well, Bill, thank you so much for being on the show. We'll be right back after these messages.
Investors endured 2 devastating bear market corrections since the year 2000. Unfortunately, many people still haven't recovered from their losses. Yet our clients tell a different story. I'm Jim Musgrave with Research Financial Strategies. For investments that make money in both bull and bear markets, call me at 301-588-0514 or visit jimmusgrave.com to learn how Research Financial Strategies can benefit you, your family, and your business. Can you afford not to?